Welcome to Life Beyond B.S, where we ditch the belief systems and the bullshit and get real about life. Here it's about awareness, choice, and creating joy that actually lasts. No perfection, just honest talk and powerful change. I'm your host, Heather McNally, and let's get into it. Hi, friends, and welcome back to Life Beyond B.S, where we go beyond the belief systems that hold you back and, yeah, the bullshit that society puts on us. I'm Heather McNally, your host, and today I'm super excited to introduce you to somebody that I met just a little while ago, but actually got to meet in person too. Her name is Nancy O'Keefe, and Nancy is a certified human design business and leadership coach who's on a mission to encourage women to step into the foreground and lead with their light. Everyone is a leader, and I can prove it, she says, based on her book, Lead with Your Light: Individual Empowerment, Influence, and Impact with Human Design. Nancy is a certified executive coach from the College of Executive Coaching and holds an MBA from Babson College in entrepreneurship. Nancy, thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, Heather, I'm so excited. Thanks for having me on.
I'm thrilled. And I love the fact that we got to meet in person, obviously unexpectedly. Nancy traveled to Massachusetts where there was a beautiful event going on, women's empowerment. It was an incredible event.
It really was.
Yeah, and I actually sat down with Nancy for her to talk to me about her human design, and all of a sudden I went, I know you. I had attended a speech that she had provided, and it was like, oh, I love human design. Tell me more. So it was really great to actually meet you in person. And you have phenomenal work you've been doing. So I want to know a little bit beyond that. Who are you at your heart and soul level?
At my heart and soul, I am a people developer. I have spent my entire career expressing myself in a way to help others build their strengths and really reveal them to the world. Whether I was working for someone else, I spent some time as a career coach. In my own business, I had my own larger company with 50 employees, and I love developing people. I love having them really get to the point where they see all their strengths and talents and they can express them, because I was a very frustrated person younger in my life.
That's awesome. And it makes me think of why I do what I do. It's you have experiences in life, they teach you something, and then if you can help other people learn and experience and grow, it lights you up. That's how I
Absolutely.
feel. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I love that. And I love that your work is really about helping women reconnect with who they are underneath everything, the conditioning, the expectations, the pressure that the world puts on us. And that aligns so deeply with everything that I talk about here with everybody on Life Beyond BS and my work. Can you tell me a little bit about that time before, like you mentioned, when you were frustrated, when you were living in the BS and what that was
Yes.
like for you?
Well, I grew up in the 50s and 60s. I'm quite a bit older than you are. And I had a mother who believed that there was a certain way to act, a certain way to
Mhm.
dress, a certain way to be. She was schooled in a secretarial school and wore the white gloves to work. She did work, which was pretty much unheard of in those days. But my father was attending college, and she worked full time to support the family with the pillbox hat and the white gloves and all of that. She was very prim and proper, and I simply was not. I am not somebody who can be put in a box. I am not somebody who can be labeled. I am a rebel at heart, and I grew up very frustrated because that was not acceptable in my mother's world. She wanted me to be a good girl. She wanted me to do things exactly the way they were supposed to be done. And I was having none of it. So I was a difficult child in her eyes. Bossy. I was called bossy. One time she told me I was fresh, and I told her I would rather be fresh than stale. So we had a pretty rocky relationship. Love my mother. She's passed now. We had a good relationship when I got older and she realized I was going to do whatever I wanted to do, whenever I wanted to do it, regardless of what she said. But it was a little bit tough in the beginning. I knew exactly what I wanted. I've always known exactly what I wanted. And it was never what I was supposed to want,
Mhm.
according to the conditioning and the rules of society and all that other stuff. There was no
Mhm.
way I was putting a pillbox hat on my head and wearing a pair of white gloves to go to work.
Mm.
Sorry, wasn't going to be
Love
me.
that.
Didn't vacuum my house every day, didn't clean my house. The dust was there when I was ready to get to it. Um, Everything I did just flew in the face of what she believed. And I didn't do it on purpose. I was just trying to be me. Um, but she just, she spent her life doing everything she was taught to do
Mhm.
and living a life that really was full of shoulds. And
Yeah.
I feel bad for women from that generation in a lot of ways, but hey, that's the choice they had to make at that time. That's the way society did it. So,
Mhm.
she was a great mom and she took great care of all of us. And she was a great cook and her house was immaculate. And I'm a great cook, but I am not a great house cleaner. And I frankly don't care.
Oh my God, I can so relate to
I mean, my
that.
house is not, filthy,
Mm.
but I am not going to pick up the dust rag and open up the vacuum cleaner every day of the week. Sorry, I have more important and more interesting things to do.
And I have to say, I know somebody who is incredibly busy, and she says she vacuums her house twice a day. And I
Oh,
thought to myself, ugh, if that's what society expects of me, I might as well be kicked out of society because it's not happening.
exactly. I have a plan. I do one section of my house every weekend. So
Mhm.
in the course of a month, the whole thing gets cleaned. But I just, and if something better comes along, I've been known to, cheat a little.
Yeah, because life is so much more than having the perfectly clean house
Yes.
and doing what society says. Life is about enjoying the experience.
And I always told my children, if your clothes are dirty and I didn't get around to it yet, I'll show you exactly how to use the washing machine and you can do it yourself.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
I
I
love
was
that.
just, different from her. And as you look at my human design, you can see in my human design, my conscious sun is in gate 8, which is the gate of fulfillment. It's really the rebel. It's the person whose sole expression in life is to be authentically them.
Mhm.
And that's who I'm here to be. And there was just no putting me in the little box with the labels.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And, I was born a few years later, but my mom, she didn't follow the pillbox hat or anything. She graduated college in 1969.
Wow.
So she was a school teacher and she had beliefs, though, about this is what you need. This is your role, and this is the role you need to fulfill.
Yes.
And I definitely did not want to fulfill that role either. And we used to have discussions
Yeah.
about cleaning. And I used to say to her, well, there's no such thing as spotless when she would tell me, I want this room spotless. And I wasn't trying to be a brat. I was just like, there's no such thing. And, of course, she thought I was being a brat. So fresh, she would say, use the word fresh too, which I
Fresh.
always say now. So, how did that affect your relationship with your mom? And were you able to reconcile the fact that you were just not made to be in that
Yes.
box?
Yes. My relationship with her, especially through the teen years, was rough.
Hmm.
Um, I tried to be a respectful child. I was very good in school. That made her happy.
Mhm.
But she wasn't going to make me do things that I just didn't feel like were the right thing for me. And we did have our fair amount of those discussions, as you put
Mhm.
it. But as I got older and she realized that, when you get to be 18, 19, you have less control over your children.
Mhm.
And she started to let go a little bit. And she realized, that I was doing my own thing and I was very successful. And I think my father finally said to her, um, look at her. She's got 2 master's degrees. She's done everything we wanted her to in a different way, in a different time frame, and out of order. I was always doing things out of order in her mind, but it all worked out in the end. And she lived to be almost 92. And, in
Mhm.
the last half of her life, we had a much better relationship, much,
That's
much
great.
better relationship.
That's great. And so, did your relationship with your mom affect how you became a mom?
I'm sure it probably did, but I was a little bit more laissez-faire with my kids. I mean, there were rules,
Mm-hmm.
but I wanted them to be able to express themselves. My husband was Catholic, and I am a Protestant, and we did not choose to raise the children in either religion, and we didn't get them baptized because we just, frankly, we were like, let them choose, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when the time came for my son to get married, he married a Catholic woman, and oh my God, I'm not baptized. I can't get married.
Mm.
And he was so upset with me. And I'm like, wait a minute, I gave you a gift. You can choose whatever
Yeah.
you want. You can be any religion you want. I didn't lock you into anything before you had a say about it. And when he realized it, he was like, oh yeah.
Mm.
But
Yeah, and that's beautiful because I did the same thing with my children. I was raised Catholic. My husband was as well, but we're not what you would call religious people. I'm spiritual.
right,
And, if people want to use the word God or use like the name God or the universe, or I respect everybody's opinions. And I respect hearing everybody what they have to say, but I wanted the same thing for my kids is for them to be able to choose because choice is the ultimate power. And when you choose for them, that doesn't mean they're going to follow what it is that you want.
right. And that was probably the biggest lesson I learned from my mother is that,
Mm.
I want to let my children choose what they want.
Yeah.
And I try to guide them in a direction. Like at one point, my son wanted to be a writer, and his father and I said, well, that's great. You can be a writer, but why don't you also pursue something that you can be guaranteed you can earn a living at?
Hmm.
And then you can still write, and he
Hmm.
does, but he's in software. He's been a technician for, he's in his 50s. He's, getting ready to retire. Oh, that
Hmm.
makes me feel really old. But he's, he's had a very successful career in technology.
Hmm.
And, he always says to me, Mom, you guys gave me the right advice. I still write. He's written a few stories. He's published one on Amazon, I think. And
Nice.
he, but he can earn a good living. He's earned a fine living and raised two girls and put them through school and all of that. So I always believed in the freedom to choose
Hmm.
because it's their life. And my job as the parent is to guide them, not to
Hmm.
put a bunch of BS
Hmm.
on them. It doesn't have to be done. Well, it does have to be done a certain way, their
Yeah.
way,
Yeah,
their way.
exactly.
Yeah.
I love that because yes, we're here as guides, but we're here to raise them and let them just like birds, like let them
Right.
fly and be free and do what it is that they want to do in life. And I really have encouraged my boys, I have two sons, to pursue what they're passionate about. And, I used to, when they were really, really little, say, I just want you to be happy and healthy. But now I say, actually, when they were pretty young still, I said, I want you to be a happy, healthy, contributing member of society so
I
that
love,
you can have your life that you choose, that you want, and it's not dependent on me or anybody else. It's on you. And I'm going to give you the pathway that I think will help you get there. And I'm always here for advice. I'm always here for information, but you get to choose what
you
you
get to
want to do.
choose.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
so important.
And I wasn't always 100% successful with that
Mm.
philosophy, but that was what I was trying to achieve.
Yeah. And you know what? There's no handbook. And
No,
even if somebody gave you a parenting handbook, it's not going to work on every kid because they're all so different, just like we are. It's a beautiful thing that everybody is so different, or else this world would be a pretty boring place.
well, and that's one thing I learned from human design.
Mm.
All of my career, I've used assessments with my clients to help them get at their strengths,
Hmm.
strength finders, Myers-Briggs, and so on. But once I stumbled on human design and I realized after doing hundreds of readings that there are no two people that are the same, I could no longer put people in any kind of category
Hmm.
because they are a category of one. And
Yes.
that was a huge eye opener for me and gave me almost permission, if you will, to really dive into my philosophy on parenting and also dive into who I was as a person.
Yeah.
because there are even twins born within minutes
Hmm.
of each other are not exactly the same energetically. It's
Right.
phenomenal.
And I think that's so amazing is to know that what we've always heard from some people, not everybody, is you're unique. You bring your own special gifts and talents. You're here for a reason. So let's dig into human design. For people who have never heard of it or are just starting to hear about it, tell us just a little bit about what human design is.
Human design is a system made up of several ancient systems: the astrology system, the chakra system, the Kabbalah, the I Ching. Chinese I Ching is 3,000 years old, and quantum physics. And it is based on your birth information. And a lot of people will say to me, oh, well, that's pretty woo woo. How do you use that
Mm,
in business? Well, I'll tell you, after doing this for almost a decade, with hundreds and hundreds of people, there is nothing woo woo about this. It is so accurate. The
mhm,
word that people use with me is, this was so validating. For the
mm,
first time, they see themselves and they feel seen. So I use it extensively to help people develop their talents. I really like to see people excel and be the best they can be.
mhm,
And if you have a dream and you want to pursue it, you can. And
mm.
and I say, as you said in my bio, everyone's a leader and I can prove it. And I can, because there's leadership in everyone's chart.
Yeah.
Now, whether you want to lead as the leader of your own life, let's just start there and break out of the mold and get rid of the conditioning and just be who you came here to be, or whether you want to lead a big corporation or a country or get on a global scale, that is a choice that's up to you. But everybody has that potential. And
Yeah.
we also came here with a purpose. We came into the world with a job to do. We came here with a purpose and the skills and talents to support us in achieving that purpose. And
Hmm.
once people see that in their human design, it just opens up the possibilities for them. So
Yeah.
as a personal development tool and a leadership tool, there's just nothing else that I know of that works as well as this. It's
Yeah.
so freeing. So
Mm.
everyone should know their human design. It helps you in your relationships. It helps you work with other people. It helps you in your love relationships, your parent-child relationships, understand the other person. It's very, very powerful.
Yeah. And I completely agree. I haven't gotten deep enough into my human design yet. But I do want to say that I found out that I was a manifesting generator.
Mm-hmm.
And when I found that out and what that meant a little bit, I was like, oh my God, this makes so much sense because I don't like to do things necessarily the way people tell me to do it. And I'm one of those people that when I get into something, I get into it. But sometimes I give it up and get into the next thing
Yeah.
because I always felt like it was chaotic. Like I just came with chaos because I'm like, I'm going to go here and then here and then here and then here. And then I realized that no, it's actually because I fulfilled what it is that I needed to get out of that situation, to learn what I needed to learn, to move on to the next thing. And maybe that just wasn't for me anymore.
Well,
And that was like, oh, okay.
and not only that, but manifesting generators have the fastest energy on the planet.
Mhm.
And you're the only energy type that can really multitask. So you probably have multiple things going on at one time.
Yeah. If
And
I
you
could only
may
show
have,
you my tabs on my laptop.
there you go. And people may have even said to you, hey, Heather, slow down. You got too much on your plate. You
Hmm.
can't possibly get all that done and do a good job. Well, yes, you can,
Yeah. Yeah.
but not every other type can. And just for the listeners out there who don't know anything about human design, there are 5 energy types. The
Hmm.
generators, there are 2 flavors: you, the manifesting generator, and the pure generator. And they are the worker bees of the world. They are the energizer bunnies of the world. And then we have the manifestors. They are the initiators. They're here to be catalysts and get people inspired and get the ball rolling. The projectors are here to manage, guide, and direct the rest of us. And then we have the reflectors, and their mirror energy is here to tell the rest of us how we're doing. So it's a system that's designed for us all to work together, to respect each other's differences and whatever we bring to the table, and to maximize our effectiveness because we've all used each other's talents,
Hmm.
which, by the way, in our world, we just really have missed the boat. We don't do any of that,
Yeah. And
especially in the world of work.
yeah, and it's funny because it's like there's so much competition and I'm better than you or I'm not as good as you or I wish I could be this or and if people understood a little bit more about how they were designed and how they work, they would understand themselves better and maybe not be doing the comparison and the
Yeah.
but also would respect the other people in the same way they could learn to respect themselves and they could
Instead
work
of
better together.
instead of fearing differences or
Mm,
even hating differences,
yeah.
most of the prejudice we have in the world comes out of the fact that there are differences and we don't like them or we can't respect the differences of other people.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's crazy because everybody, we need everybody. I always use the
Yes.
metaphor of a puzzle. Have you ever done a puzzle? You got to the end of the puzzle and the last couple pieces weren't in the box and you couldn't
Hmm.
finish the puzzle. Well, everybody has a unique puzzle piece. We can't complete the puzzle without everybody's piece.
Right. We're all
Yeah,
here for a real reason.
we are. We are, especially now,
Yes.
because right now we are undergoing a major transformative shift in the energy on the planet. And
Hmm.
this is impacting everybody.
Yeah.
And we are moving from an energy that we've all been operating under for the last 400 years. And we're shifting to an energy that we're all going to be operating under for the next 400 years. So to be living at this time right now means you're here for a reason. You're here to help shape this transition.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited about this because, from a woman's standpoint, I see this as leveling the playing field.
Mm.
The rules we had in the past, they're not going to apply anymore. We're moving to an era of individual empowerment. We're moving to an era where everybody is going to be responsible for their own happiness, their own satisfaction.
Yeah.
And all of the hierarchies and the logic and the institutions that we've depended on for the last 400 years, they're beginning to crumble. Look at
Hmm.
how the healthcare system crumbled during COVID. Look at how our educational system really isn't serving everybody
Yep.
anymore like it did. And so now we have public school, private school, charter school, homeschool. There's a lot of upheaval in things
Hmm.
that have been tried and true.
Yes.
Um,
And my
so,
mom was a school teacher, and
yeah.
that was what I was going to study when I went to college. And everything happens for a reason, right? So I was in college, I was transferring schools, and they assured me that I could finish my degree. And because I was studying elementary education in the state of Massachusetts at the time, I was scheduled to graduate the very last semester that they were actually allowing you to graduate without having a double major to get your elementary education. And when I transferred, everything was all set until I registered for classes. And they said, oh, no, you have to be here a minimum of a semester with this GPA to do that. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And of course, in my youth, I thought, I can't do that.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna go to psychology as my degree. And that's
Mhm.
what I did. And now here I am all these years later. And my mom actually said to me towards, before I transferred, she said, I don't know if you really want to be a teacher. She's like, it's changing so much. And this was eons ago. And
Mm.
I was like, yes, I do. Yes, I do. And now I look at education and I see it so differently, especially being a mom who had kids in school, that it's not all everybody seems to think it is, and it needs a lot of work.
Yeah.
It really
Oh,
needs a major upheaval, and I agree with, politics does, I mean, everything. And
everything.
I can feel the energy changing, which is kind of a wild thing for me.
And that's the first half of my book, is
Mm,
the evidence that everything is changing and shifting.
yeah.
And then the second half is about what you can do about it to,
Hmm.
really thrive in the new era.
Yeah.
People are going to go from being dependent on institutional rules and so
Hmm.
on to having to think about everything for themselves.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen reasonably quickly. It's already happening. They
Hmm.
need to be equipped to do
Yeah.
this. And that's why I think human design is so important right now. Everybody should know their human design so
Hmm.
they can be empowered
Def
within themselves
right.
to transfer themselves onto this new era.
Absolutely. Like I said, if nothing else, that helped me understand so much more about myself. And like I said, that that was like, okay, I need to dive more into this human design and understand more about myself, because the more you understand about who you are, you can accept you for you, and you're
Absolutely.
not going to be in that competition place and that, oh my God, I want to be like you, because you realize I have these beautiful gifts and talents that maybe you didn't realize you had before.
Most of the time you don't, because
Yeah.
they're so natural to you that you don't think they're gifts and talents. You think
Mhm.
everybody can do this,
Right.
that, or the other. And then you find out, no, these are special gifts.
Hmm.
Not everybody has them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, how did you first learn about um, this and about human design? And how did you see yourself differently in terms of how you were operating?
The first time human design came across my radar, I took one look at it and it looked ridiculously complex.
Hmm.
And I said, ugh, and I just put it aside. I don't have time for this. And it kept coming across my radar in emails. I don't even know how they found me, but I was supposed to look at it. And it took me probably a good year. I even pulled my own report from Jovian Archives once. And again, I looked at it and it was like crazy. So the first time I decided, all right, you know how the universe works. They give you a little nudge, and then if you don't pay attention, eventually you get the 2x4 across the back of the head.
Yep.
Well, that's the point I got to, and I'm like, okay, I get it. I'm supposed to look at this. And even then, I took a class and it went right over my head. It was so complex. But I kept at it because I really believed that I was supposed to look into it. And the odd thing is that when I wrote my book, the first half of the book I wrote in 2011. Then human design came into my life, and I realized I had only written half a book
Mm,
and I had to finish the rest of it once I got the human design knowledge I needed. It was a very, I was really told this.
mm,
That was a little woo woo, but um, yeah. So how was I different? I really was relaxing into myself. I was looking at, my life saying, I am exactly on the right path. All that bucking and arguing I did growing up, I was supposed to do that. And
mm,
all the experiences I've had throughout my life, good, bad, whatever they were, those were me gathering up the pieces of experience that I
mm,
was to use later. Because my human design profile is that of a role model. And I'm supposed to gather experiences through the first 2/3 of my life and come, out as the wise sage in the last
mm,
third of my life. And unknowingly, that's exactly what I did.
mhm,
So for me, it was permission. It was validation, permission, you're on the right track, keep going. Okay, you're 73 years old. Is it time to retire? My husband says. I'm like, no, it isn't. I'm just getting started.
Yeah.
This change, this new era, I have 6 or 7 of the 8 energies in the new era. I'm starting now. This is what I am here to do. And it's, 73 and I'm just getting started.
I
He's
feel
not,
that so much.
he's not too happy about that.
So I'm 53, and I know a lot of you had mentioned that one of your kids is in their 50s and considering
Hmm.
and I know a lot of my friends are counting down, starting to retire, are planning what they're going to do. And I feel the same way. I was like, ooh, I started my business technically at 50. I've only been really, truly owning it for the last just over a year.
Hmm.
And I'm just getting started too. I'm like, I cannot wait to see what
Yeah,
my next thing is. So I think that's so phenomenal. And so many people, the old thought of retirement was like, you work in a job for however,
65,
40,
till you're 65.
yeah, and then you're done. And a lot of people just went home and sat on the couch or sat on the porch and didn't do anything. And then it started to change, and people are like, well, I want to travel and
Right.
I want to do more things. But I think now it's like people are like, I'm 40 something, I'm 50 something, I'm 60 something, I'm 70 something, and I'm just getting going.
Right.
And I think it's helping people live a better, more full life.
Absolutely. And there are people that are here expressly to bring the knowledge from the old era that we're here to keep, that we need moving forward, and they're the bridges. They're the people that are going to bring that information forward. Then there are people like me that have, you know, 6 or 7 of the energies in the new era. We're here to really create the new era.
Hmm.
We're not here to bring anything back from the past. And
Yeah.
then there are people that have both.
Yeah.
um, you know, so everybody plays a role. And
Hmm.
I love the fact that when you're a generator, as long as you're doing something that you're passionate about, you have unlimited energy, and
Hmm.
you will never retire. Generators will never, most of them will never retire, because they
Hmm.
just love what they're doing, they're
Yeah.
passionate about it, and they're just going to keep doing it until the last day they take a breath.
Mm. And there's nothing like being lit up by what you do. And that
Absolutely.
I understand that for some people they feel like it's not possible for them because they feel stuck. So what would you say to people like that?
Well, when you look at how your work life is, if you're working for someone else and you are getting up in the morning and getting in the car, getting on the train and going on this horrible commute with lots of
Mhm.
traffic and people to an office that you're in a little cubicle, and there's nothing about it you really like. It's not decorated the way you would like to see it. And you're doing work that you might like, but maybe you don't. And maybe you have a boss that isn't the best either. I mean, why would anybody keep doing that any longer than they have to do? So the trick is really to really leverage people and allow them to use their gifts. And that's one thing that companies are terrible at. I saw a statistic once that 93% of CEOs said that they just didn't have any idea what talent they had in their organization.
Mm.
Because think about it, beyond the one-page resume, what do they really know about you and the manager's opinion? And let's
Mhm.
face it, a lot of managers never get any training. They really
Right.
don't know what they're doing.
Hmm.
It's a bad situation. So why wouldn't people want to retire and get the heck out? They
Yeah.
can't do anything they want to do. In
Hmm.
many cases, they have an idea, they bring it forward, it gets shot down, or somebody's afraid that they might rise above them. There's so much politics and other
Oh
junk
yeah.
that goes on in a company.
Yep.
But what we have to remember, and this is one of the points I'm trying to get out there in the world, almost 80% of the businesses in this country are small businesses that hire less than 20 people.
Hmm.
And those businesses can make a difference. They can change the culture. They can change the way we think about work. I thought we were going to make inroads during COVID when we had flexibility.
Hmm.
In the year 2001, I opened an organization where all 50 of my employees worked from home. We didn't have Zoom. We didn't have apps. We didn't have any of that. We had to build stuff. But I hired at home moms, stay at home moms who made the conscious choice to raise their children. They wanted to be
Hmm.
there to get them on the bus, get them off the bus, help them with homework. I said, great. I don't care which hours you work every day. Just tell me when you're going to work and tell me when you're not there, because I don't want to send some work your way and have you not be there to do it.
Right.
Some of them were part-time, some of them were full-time. They all got 100% paid benefits as employees. They got option to have the family plan, but they had to pay for that themselves. They
Hmm.
had paid vacation. They had the same wage they would have gotten if they had gone into Boston. This was in the Boston area.
Hmm.
And it was phenomenal. I had a waiting line of people that wanted to come and work for me,
Wow.
moms and dads, because there were some stay-at-home dads.
Hmm.
And they were so happy. They
Mm.
worked incredible hours. I never asked them to. They did things I never asked them to. They were so
Mhm.
loyal and
Mhm.
so grateful to have a job that let them be themselves.
Yeah, and that's crazy that a company could actually thrive with happy employees, and
Absolutely.
that goes to the culture. And you're so right. Every single job that I ever had in my work life before becoming a stay-at-home mom, there was no training. It was fly by the seat of your pants. It was, well, why is it that you want me to do this in this situation? Because you've always told me I have to do this. Well, if you look at it this way, and I always thought, why can't they train so that you will understand why you're doing what you're doing? Why can't we get to know each other? I understand having a professional etiquette with each other and not getting
Hmm.
too personal unless you choose to get to know the person. But I think that it's really beautiful when a company does take the time to get to know their employees and who they are and understand a little bit more about their gifts and their talents and what they're looking for out of this life
And let
because
them
you
use
don't
their
want to
gifts
keep
and
them
talents.
down.
No. Well,
Yeah,
they do.
I
They
had
do want to
jobs
keep
that
them.
I loved and I had jobs that I was absolutely miserable in. And a lot of it usually had to do with personalities and
Yeah.
whether or not they actually um I don't even know what I want to say is like trusted you, took the time to get to know
Right.
you. And the jobs that I loved, it was always because I got to know somebody a little bit more. They got to know me a little bit more. I didn't feel like I had to be like stiff with them. I got to express who I was. They got to express who they were in an appropriate way in a work environment. And if I said, I need to, take this day off because of X, Y, and Z, there
Right.
was never I'm going to make you feel bad. There was a job that I had that when I was getting married, I wanted 2 weeks off, and they were like balking at me
Hmm.
and made me feel so bad
Yeah.
taking 2 weeks off. And I thought to myself, but I'm going away. I have a vacation scheduled, and I would like a couple days before my wedding to see coming in town guests and things like that. And I thought to myself, I was only 23. I was really young when I got married. And I thought to myself, is this what life is going to be?
Mm.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, it's really sad because all it takes is you need to value the people that work for you. You need to
Mhm.
appreciate the job they do for you, and you need to let them be themselves.
Yeah.
When you do those three things, that's a winning combination.
Mhm.
People will stay. You won't
Yeah.
have the, people walking out the door, revolving door syndrome that we have had a lot of times.
Mhm.
But I don't know why companies don't get it. And
Yeah.
even after COVID, when people could go back to work, a lot of managers made people go back into the office.
Mhm.
Why? I had a $5 million a year business with 50 people, and I never had anybody come into the office. I came in, my secretary came in, and a couple of people would come in because they just liked to be with people. They didn't want to work at home by themselves.
Mhm.
That's fine. And once a quarter, we would have everybody come in. We would pay for those because my employees were in 4 different states. So we would pay for everybody to come in, and we would have a day. We would do like workshops, seminars. We take them out someplace special, have an outing, and they could all get together and feel like they belonged with a company.
Mhm.
But it was, if you couldn't make it, no biggie. you
Yep.
know, I can't make it. I'm getting married that week. Maybe we'd even change it so you could come. But
Right.
it's about caring about the people that work for you. So
Mhm.
that why would you want to be in a rush to retire?
Yeah.
It
Right now, I
doesn't,
would just want to scream,
yeah,
yes.
it doesn't make any sense. So
No.
that's really what my focus on leadership is about. We
Mhm.
need to change the paradigms that we've been working under for the last 400 years because they're broken. And you
Yes.
can look all over and see all of the evidence in education, in government, in healthcare, in business, you name it, it's broken.
I
And
100% agree with
yep.
you.
So once we can really wrestle with the fact that, okay, maybe there's a new and a better way to do things, and really relax into that and together work to see what that is, things are going to
Mm.
change. They're
Yeah.
going to change.
I love it. I feel it. I truly feel it. And stepping into the energy of seeing that when you feel something like that and stepping into it and letting it be can really change your life. I think it's
Absolutely.
so incredible. And a lot of people are hesitant and they, oh, well, I shouldn't do this. I should do this. I should. And so I had a coach. Her name is Lachelle Weemy. I love her. And she actually said, and I thought it was great. She goes, you got to stop shoulding all over yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, that's beautiful. So tell me your thoughts on why people think that they should behave certain ways.
Well, should is very, very strong because when you think about acceptance, we talked a little bit about being accepted.
Mm.
Um, that I think it goes back to the cellular level because way
Mhm.
back in the day, caveman days and before, if you weren't accepted as part of the tribe,
Mm.
you didn't have any protection from another warring tribe. You didn't have protection from wild animals. Maybe you didn't eat. There was a lot of strong reasons to go with the flow and be accepted by the tribe and buy into their rituals and do things the way the tribe thought they should be done.
Mhm.
That's less of a case now, but I think we still carry that forward.
Oh, yeah.
And we all want to be liked and accepted. That's very, very strong. I always use the example of the woman's high heel shoe. I
Mm.
mean, women get told even what to wear. It's a
Mhm.
little better now than it was, but back 10, 20, 30 years ago, we all had to wear the high heel shoes to work every day.
Mhm.
Never mind, you had to walk through the city and blah, blah, blah.
Oh,
But
I
then
remember in the 80s, all the women wearing their sneakers
sneakers
in their suits, and then they'd get to work and stick the stilettos on.
under, yeah, right.
Mhm.
Now, I don't know about you, but my foot is not shaped the way a high
Mhm.
heel shoe is. About the only woman I know that has that shaped foot is Barbie.
Yes.
So,
Cinderella. They're not
uh,
real.
not, yeah.
Mhm.
So, and yet we wore them.
Mhm.
And, we would wear fashion that didn't look particularly good on us
Mhm.
because maybe we were short or maybe we were too tall or whatever, but we did it in the name of being accepted.
Yeah.
But don't you want to be accepted for who you truly are,
Mhm.
not for what you look like? Or
Yeah.
so we really need to explore our individuality through human design and put that out there and look to be accepted for the true person that we really are. That's what's important.
Yeah. And I think that for me, I couldn't wear heels because first of all, I'm 5'9". Second of all, I walked like a baby giraffe. Just trying to stand up. It didn't work for me. I would wear like the clunkier, chunky heels or the wedges, but I didn't do that very often because I was taller than everybody,
Mm,
even a lot of the men, and I didn't like that. I didn't want to be noticed. Now, if I wanted to wear those, I would wear them because all right, notice me. Great. But I
right,
didn't have the confidence back then. But yeah, you're right about the feet. And it's our brains have not evolved in the same pace that society has evolved. So our brain is still, we have to fit in and we have to
right,
do this and the shoulds, but the shoulds are also other people in society telling
right.
us this is what you need to do. So when you say to yourself, well, I should be eating this or I should be going here and doing this. Really think about that when you say that to yourself. Should you, or is that what someone else is telling
And
you?
what do
This
you
is how
want
you're
to do?
acceptable.
The real question is, what do you want to do?
Yeah,
What's right for you? And
yeah.
then another really beautiful part of human design is the fact that we all have a decision-making center in our bodies
Mhm.
that will give us the right answer to those
Mm,
questions. But we've been taught to think in our heads, use
yes.
logic, weigh the pros and cons. There isn't one type that has a head as a decision-making center.
Hmm. Yeah.
So when you feel into the decision, you'll make an aligned choice for
Hmm.
you.
Yeah.
And maybe wearing those high heels is a yes for you.
Hmm.
That's perfectly fine. But
Absolutely.
when you're being told to do something and you're doing it just because it's what you think you should do,
Mm.
that's a red flag.
Yeah. And
I,
that's something I love to teach people is about feeling into a decision. So it's something that I used to avoid because I would feel it intuitively. I felt things and I was told that that stuff was woo-woo and stuff
right.
was weird. But as you look at it now, as this 53-year-old version of myself, I go, the stuff that people think is woo is actually scientifically based and can be proven. So when you're
Neuroscience.
feeling, yeah, your vibration. So talk a little bit about how you learned how to feel into a decision and what you would say to people who are trying to feel that.
Well, I'm a generator, just like you. I'm not a manifesting generator, I'm a pure generator. So my decision making center, as yours is my sacral center, right
Mhm.
below the navel. And it makes a yes affirmative sound or a no negative sound, and it answers very well to yes no questions.
Mhm.
So what I do is I ask myself a yes no question, and you can wake yours up by asking yourself a series of 10 questions, and the first 3 or 4 you already know the answer to. It's a
Hmm.
yes or it's a no. And then start asking yourself things you don't know the answer to, you want the answer to. And you will get to familiar with
Hmm.
how your sacral responds. Maybe it is a yes, maybe it's an uh-huh, that kind of thing. So once you get to know, you just stop, pause, ask the question silently to yourself, and wait for the feeling. And regardless of whether your sacral center is your decision making center, or your spleen, or wherever else in your body it is, you will always get the right answer. So, the biggest thing we need to learn right now is self trust.
Hmm.
Stop looking outside, stop giving away your power, stop looking to others, comparing. There's
Hmm.
no one else like you, there's nothing to compare to, and listen to yourself. The
Yeah.
body is always giving you the answers. The
Hmm.
body is always giving you clues. We've been taught not to listen, but it's
Mm.
still working. You
Yeah.
might have to wake it up and become a little bit more aware of it, but it's still there. And
Yeah.
if you don't learn anything else from human design but that, you'll be eons ahead of where you are now.
Yeah. And it's truly when you make a decision that's not in alignment with your true self, your true identity, not who you've been told to be, not how you've been raised, not according to, oh, you're a woman, you're supposed to have a baby, or if you work and have a kid, this is what you're supposed to do. But if you truly feel things in your body, it's the most amazing experience to know that you're living in alignment with what it is that you feel, with who it is that you are. And it's like you get those goosebump
Mm-hmm.
moments. And I love that. So, a lot of people are not living in alignment and they're exhausted because of it. They're in complete overwhelm. So, what would you say to that man or woman who is like, I am just exhausted. I don't know what I can do. I don't know why I feel like this.
Yeah, I would say you've got to learn about your human design. There's what I call the big three: your
Mm-hmm.
energy type, your decision making center, and your strategy. If you learn those three things about your human design, it will really help you begin to trust yourself and use your inner authority. We're moving into this new era is all about inner authority. It's
Yeah.
all about that. Eventually there's not going to be anyone left to ask. You're going to have to really go inside
Mm-hmm.
and start equipping yourself to do that now. Um, I have a free human design chart and report you can get on my website at nancyo'keefecoaching.com. And there's a big button right on the homepage, get your free chart. Just, it's perfectly free. Go put in your birth information. You do need your time of birth, and it needs to be as accurate as you can humanly make it. So your chart is accurate, but you'll get a report that shares with you the big three:
Mm-hmm.
your energy type. It'll share more than that, but your energy type, your strategy, and your decision making center. So
Mm.
that's a great place to start and
Yeah.
really
And
learn, and then practice using it.
yeah.
And the other thing is that 50% of the world, and I'm one of them, is an emotional decision maker, meaning that our solar plexus comes into play. So, can I make a quick yes no decision? Yep, I can. But I have to run it through my emotional solar plexus
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that I get clarity and it still remains a yes for after I run through this emotion. So, it can take a day, a week, an hour. It depends. Everybody's different. 50% of the world can't make a split-second decision and be guaranteed it's going to stay in alignment. So
Mm-hmm.
I know I need to sleep on it. I know I need time. So often I tell my clients, you can indicate what your first reaction is to this decision. Like somebody asks you to head up something at work or a committee or something, and your first inclination is excitement and you want to do it. It looks like a great opportunity, but then you sleep on it and you say, oh my God, why did I sign up for that? I don't have time. Oh my, and you have basically buyer's remorse.
Yes.
So what you can say is, my first inclination is to be really excited about this and to say yes, but let me check my calendar, or I
Mhm.
want to think about it overnight, or I need to discuss it with my husband or my family, or buy yourself some time
Yeah.
so that you can make a decision and feel it in your social your sacral and your solar plexus,
Hmm.
and know that it's really the aligned choice for you.
Yeah. And I definitely must be that same kind of decider because I'm like, when I decide immediately for a lot of things. Some things, where are we going out to dinner? I don't know,
Yeah,
something, but bigger things I decide pretty quickly, but I have learned I have to step back and let myself sit on it
yeah,
because I have had that buyer's remorse experience. And also, if it's a really big thing, I just want to make sure that my body is telling me the right thing, that I
absolutely.
thought everything through, and I just need to take that time. I don't need a lot of time. I just need to take that time
Right.
because otherwise I might be like, oh, because I've done that where I bit off way more than I could chew. And by the time, the week is over and I've done all the things that I needed to do, I'm like ready to pull my hair out. Because I know I'm also that person that I need a little downtime sometimes to
Yeah,
just let go of everything and not have to sit and think and think and think because
right.
I think too much. In that respect, I think that sometimes people are afraid to trust themselves, but you say step
Absolutely.
into your leadership, step into your power. Do you think that people fear that power?
Absolutely. Fear and trauma are
Mm,
probably the two biggest roadblocks. We talked about the idea of acceptance. Well, a lot of women, especially, fear stepping into their own leadership, even in their own life. They feel fear leading their own life because, well, what if somebody doesn't agree with me? I might
mm,
lose a friend, or I might, people at work might think my idea is silly, or, there's a lot of fear around that. And you know what? Some fear is real, but
mhm.
some fear isn't. Some fear is false evidence appearing real.
Right.
So, what you want to make sure you do is muster up the courage. Is this something I really want?
Mhm.
If I really, really want it, I have to step through the fear and
Mhm.
go get it.
Yes, because everybody feels fear. It's what our brain
Everybody,
does to try to keep us safe. But if you could sit and look at something and say, I really want this, but I don't believe I can get it, well, then you're letting the fear stop you.
exactly.
If you're looking at it and saying, well, that would be cool, but I don't know that I want it. I just like the idea of it. Then you have to sit and think about whether or not it's really right for you. But
Yes.
step out through the fear, definitely.
And also, you have to be aware that the brain has a memory center
Mm.
that stores all of the memories. And if you encounter something that feels like a bad memory, might not be exactly the same, but your brain is probably going to go, again, in the name of protecting you,
Mm-hmm.
ooh, this seems a lot like that time we did this.
Yeah.
And that didn't go so well. So let's stay away from this.
Yeah.
But again, you have to really go into that decision making center,
Yeah.
and that will be the way out.
And and that fear, when you have had that bad experience, you do feel it in your body. You feel
Absolutely.
that fear in your body, and that's where the decision-making center where you have to trust yourself. So
Yes.
start with small decisions that you feel and let yourself understand what that feeling of yes is and no
Absolutely.
is to be able to get to that place where, okay, fear's taking over. Let me really feel into what my body's telling me.
And if you go up into your head, if you hesitate and you start to go up and think about it, you're already lost your ability to make an aligned
Mhm.
choice. I
Mhm.
like the analogy of the price is right. Most people have seen the price is right.
Yeah.
And you watch these people, they bid, they get up on stage, and they have to go for the big prize. And the first thing they do is turn to the audience and see what everybody is going to say about what they should say the price is. Instead
Mhm.
of going inside, and they'll depend on a room full of strangers that they maybe they know a couple of them, and they'll make a choice based on that.
Yeah.
That is what we don't want to do. We want to
Mhm.
go inside first.
Yeah.
You might still make the price not right and you might not win the prize, but at least it's your responsibility. Take a little accountability and
Mhm.
responsibility, and above all, trust yourself, because you're a lot smarter about
Mm.
what's right for you than the strangers in the audience.
Yeah. And that's a huge point to make is a lot of times nobody knows what is exactly right for us.
Right.
Even my husband, who I've been with for 35 years, he might say, well, this could happen. And I might say, oh, okay, and shut down. But then I have to stop myself and go, wait, no, he is not me. he's coming from a different perspective. And so I need to trust my body. And it took me a long time to get there. But now that I'm there, it's such a beautiful thing because I might ask him, like, what do you think of these two versions of this workbook or something? And he'll
Right.
be like, well, I like this one. And I'm like, well, I kind of like this one. So tell me why you like this one more because it gives me another perspective. But I'm still going to go with what I think. And maybe his perspective will help me change something in this version, but I'm going to go with what I feel is right. It's always good to have input for things sometimes, but to truly make your decision, you really need to trust yourself.
Yeah, getting input from others, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
good thing. Two heads are better than one.
right.
But at the end of the day, the ultimate decision is yours and yours
Yeah,
alone.
yeah. And that's your superpower.
It is.
Yeah. So, your book, and I have it right here. I love it. Lead with your light, individual empowerment, influence, and impact with human design. So tell me a little bit about what people can expect from this book. And also, then from there, what does leading with your light really mean to you?
Well, we all have energies that make us up. We talk a lot about our physical DNA. We
Mhm.
realize that we all have physical DNA. Well, your energy is like your energetic DNA. It's how you're wired to operate. And every energy in your chart has a light side and a shadow. And when I say lead with your light, I mean lead with your highest and best self. So the book goes through all of your chart. It will teach you how to read your chart, and it will teach you about the shadow and the light and what you can do to get yourself to the higher vibration, to the light, because you always want to put your best foot forward and you want to lead with all your gifts, not just the ones society thinks are a good idea. And
Mhm.
that's really what I mean by lead with your light.
Yeah.
And as I said earlier, whether you just leading your own life or whether you're leading your family or your school committee or your town or on a global stage, we are all leaders. And some of us want to make the choice, and it's your choice. It's not someone else's choice whether you're a leader. If you want to maintain your leadership at the corporate level or beyond, that's your choice. If you're happy to just be the leader of your family, that's
Mhm.
your choice too. But it is your choice, not someone else's choice. And you'll see when you get into the book, and also there's a lot of resources I talk about, which you can get for free. There's QR codes in the book with the free resources, but you'll be able to see your leadership in your chart, and you'll see exactly what I mean by you're a leader, and I can prove it
Mhm.
because I will point out to you in the book where leadership lives in everybody's chart.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
love that.
there's so many places, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, because so many people think, well, I'm not a leader. I'm not somebody who has people who report to me, and that's not what leadership is. And I really feel like whether you're leading yourself, whether you're leading your family, whether you're leading a Girl Scout troop, whatever it is that you're leading, you have power to create a beautiful culture within that environment, within yourself, within others. And so, in that respect, we all have the responsibility to show our own light, but also to help other people show their light. And that's true leadership to me is helping the others show their light by shining your light on them.
Yes, I believe that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
And I've spent most of my career trying to help people develop their light in one
Mm,
way or another. And I'm just so grateful that I was introduced through however it happened to human
mm,
design and really able to use that as a tool because it is so powerful and
yeah.
it's so readily available. It's really starting to get more mainstream than it was when I
Yeah.
started a decade ago. And like I said, I think everybody should learn a little bit about their human design so
Mhm.
they can see the power that lives within them.
Yeah. And like you said, some things people think of as woo, but there is so much scientific proof to back up what it is that we're talking about. And it's really empowering to be able to be seeing this and living in this time.
Mm,
It's a scary time in a way. Things that are happening, there's so much dark, but if we all keep shining the light in the dark. And I know that people say that and it's kind of become a cliche, but it's really true. If you're shining that light and leading with your light and shining your light on other people, they get to shine their light, and that will hopefully open up the darkness, and we'll have a more beautiful, enlightened world.
Absolutely. And the fear is the darkness is people holding on to the old.
Yeah.
It's the fear that they have,
Hmm.
and they can't let go because they look forward and it's the unknown and they don't know what it's going to look like. They don't know if they're going to lose their power, their capabilities, or what have you. But I really believe, after all the evidence that I have seen and wrote about in the book, that everything that's dark that is happening right now, it has to happen, because this big change cannot occur with no pain.
Yeah.
And my heart goes out to everyone who's suffering in a
Hmm.
way in other parts of the world where they're suffering way more than we happen
Yeah.
to be right here. And you don't want to see anybody suffer, but we do all have to push forward and
Hmm.
make this change happen. And the sooner we can get to the other side of this transition, I really believe that we really have the opportunity to have a much more peaceful existence than the warlike energy we've been operating under for 400 years.
Absolutely agree. 100%. This has been so incredibly beautiful, and I thank you. But my final question for you is, what would or does living a life beyond BS mean to you?
It really means being yourself and evaluating everything you do in terms of, is this what I really want? Is this what I really want?
Mhm.
That is not an easy question for people to answer, because they've been told so long what they want. I mean, think about it. Every television ad tells you what you want. So ask yourself, what do I really want? And don't be afraid to say you don't want it.
Mhm. Yes.
Practice that good decision making, make aligned choices, and then there is no BS in your life. There's simply your life the way you want it.
I love it. Thank you so much. Oh my God, this is so beautiful. So, I do want to share with everybody that I am putting in the show notes all the ways to contact, get in touch with Nancy, and to get her book. Because wow, can it shed a light on so much about you? And I'm super excited to dive into it. And I want to also share that for ways to connect and work with me, also check the show notes, visit heathermcnally.com. And I've also just now added a new free workbook on my website. It's called A Return to You, and you're going to want to get that. Check it out on my website. So, thank you again, Nancy, so much for being here today. I appreciate your time, your wisdom, all of it.
Thank you, Heather. This was a great conversation.
Thanks. Yeah. So I want to thank you all for listening and sharing this space with me and Nancy today. My hope is that you walk away knowing that you have that power to choose. Go live fully, freely, and unapologetically. Your life beyond BS starts now. I'm so grateful you were here today. Remember, your peace, joy, and happiness aren't found in the BS. They're found in your choices. If this episode spoke to you, please rate, review, follow, and subscribe, and share it with a friend. For ways to connect or work with me, check the show notes or visit heathermcnally.com. Until next time, keep choosing you and keep living your life beyond BS.